Good morning, Rose Red, and welcome to another Micro Moment Monday. Today I'm going to share with you the grain mill that has arrived, and I have been using it for about a week and I'm totally in love with it. It is a great grain mill, and here it is. And I don't want you to think that I chose this one just because it is red. That really had nothing to do with it. I looked at the characteristics and chose it, and it happened to come in red among several other colors. So of course that is the color that I ordered. This is the Como Mio. K-O-M-O, the Como Mio. Como makes a whole line of grain mills. I want you to know that I had a terrible time choosing between the Como and the Mock mill. Those were my two top for days and days and days. I waffled between one and the other, and then back and forth and back and forth. I did not want to spend $700 to $1,000 on a grain mill. I just didn't want to do it. I wanted to be in the $300 to $400 range, and this one was $339. It is now in our Amazon store if you want to take a closer look at it. Also, one of the best places that I was able to go online was oh my goodness, I have forgotten the name of it. I'm going to put, it is a buying guide from a grain company out of Nebraska, Pleasant Hill, I think it is, Pleasant Hill Grains. I'm going to put the link below this video to their buying guide. It is a very fair and balanced buying guide. They sell the top names in grain mills, and you can go there, and it was such a great help to me to learn a few things about grain mills that I did not know before. Now, this particular grain mill is called a stone burr. That's how it grinds the grain between stones. It has a stone burr. The Wonder Mill that I also purchased and was quite disappointed in was an impact grill. Well, I shouldn't have been disappointed if I would have gone to this page first, because I would have learned that the Wonder Mill is an impact mill, and an impact mill doesn't grind the grain. Rather, it sends it between two discs that have sharp fins sticking out that are spinning a zillion times a second, and when the grain hits, it just explodes the grain. It does not grind it, it explodes it into tiny pieces, and it will only do flour. And that's what I was disappointed in with the Wonder Mill, that it would only do flour. I couldn't get it coarse enough to grind a cracked wheat for breakfast. Well, duh. But anyway, that mill is a good mill for an impact mill. It's top rated if you like flour only. I wanted a mill that was far more versatile. I wanted the finest of flour to very coarse and everything in between, and that is exactly what this mill does. Also, it has a 12-year warranty, which was one of the deciding factors between this one and the Mock mill, which only has a 6-year warranty. This is a 400-watt machine. It's comparable to the Mock mill in that regard. And then the other thing is, the other deciding factor to me, comparing the Mock mill and the Como, was that the flour here is very fine, where the Mock mill is just fine. And so I wanted the very, very fine flour, because that's what I'm used to with my 50-year-old, 40-year-old grain mill. This has given me such peace of mind now, because my previous one that I've had for 40 or 50 years is I don't have any idea how long it's going to last, and I certainly don't want to be caught without a grain mill in the middle of a long-term grid down situation where I'm relying on it to grind the grain that I'm going to be using for bread making, which is incredibly important, to have the ability to make bread in a grid down situation. With this Como Mio, these are the types of grains that it can grind. Soft grains like wheat and spelt. Hard grains like different varieties of wheat, corn, rice, millet. Spices, legumes like chickpeas, beans, peas, and coffee beans, all variety of roasted beans. What it cannot do is oil seeds like oats that have their covering. This will do oat groats, but it will not do other types of oats. poppy seeds, flax seeds, and so forth. With those, I would have to do a mortar and pestle, or I can't even do those in my other grain mill either. So it does a huge variety. It does everything that I need for it to do. It is quieter than an impact mill. The third type of mill is steel burr, which also grinds, but it does not have the capability of grinding as fine a flour as a stone burr does. I like ground grains rather than exploded grains. So I did some grinding this morning to show you the differences in, so this is the superfine, it is the superfine flour, and when I press it between my thumb and my forefinger, I cannot feel any grit. I just feel a very soft fluff. This is next up, and I do feel grit here, and this would be like about cornmeal consistency, fine cornmeal, and there are about 6 or 7 stops between here and here as well. This is cracked wheat. It's perfect. There's hardly any flour that is associated with this, so it does a great job. And this is extremely coarse. I'm not sure what I would use this coarse of flour for, but I might find something, who knows. And I was using my hard red winter wheat. So here's basically how this works. Here's the hopper. The grain goes in here. I'll put some grain in. And then the setting, here's the setting from very super fine all the way to very coarse, except it's just not, here's the black dot that is the marker. It's not just from here to here. This black dot goes all the way over to here for super fine and all the way around the corner over to here for super coarse. So it is on fine right now. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. It's a little bit loud, but it is not as loud as my previous mill, nor is it as loud as the Wonder Mill, which I wanted to put earmuffs on that one. So here we go. Now that is super fine. And here, this is super coarse. And that's all there is to adjusting this mill. It is wonderful. Now, this is a mixture of everything in here now, and I'll be able to just run the whole thing back through and make superfine flour with this whole bowl full. So the downside, as I see it, is that it comes out in the open air and it leaves dust surrounding. So I'm going to see if I can figure out something to minimize that a little bit, and I will be able to figure it out. But it is much lighter than my other one. My other one weighed about 35 or 40 pounds, very heavy. And this one is about, I can't remember, 12 or 13 pounds. And so I'm very, very pleased with this. Now, one of the things that, and I think that I would have been equally pleased with the Mock Mill. I probably would have gotten the Mock Mill 100, which is about the same price as this one. I may have done the 200, but it was the warranty and the fact that I could get superfine flour with this one that was the turning point for me. And that may not be as important to you either. So many of you are very pleased with the mills that you have, and I think that that is just great. For those of you that are making decisions, that link that I'm going to put to Pleasant Hill Grains buying guide will, I think, be very, very helpful. Many of you have asked, so what are you going to do if the grid goes down? And they were concerned for themselves as well as wondering what we would do. So first I'm going to show you what we would do. So I know that many of you will recognize our baby blue, the Bluetti that we have done videos on before. So I'm just going to plug this right into the Bluetti. And this can be powered by solar. And we have the setup to be able to recharge this, a little generator, through solar, or when the grid is up, we just plug it into the wall to recharge it. But it's not plugged in. the Bluetti is not plugged in, but now the Como Mio is plugged into this. So let's see how it does. So I have to turn this section of the Bluetti on until this green light is on. And once that little green light is on, now I know that I can try this out. So let's see if it works. All right, so our baby Bluetti is iffy. When I tried it this morning, it was working just fine, but when I turned it down to superfine flour, it bogged down. So now I have our medium-sized one, and I haven't tried it in advance, so this is an experiment. Let's see what it does in terms of being able to power this. And right now it is on superfine flour.
Gotta turn it on.
It's on.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful. So we do have off-grid power in this medium-sized Bluetti, and also, of course, we could always hook it to our large Bluetti. So we have off-grid options for this mill. In terms of helping those of you that do not have the Bluetti or an off-grid power source that might run a grain mill, there are other options as well. And I'll be doing another video later after I continue my research and am ready with enough information to present some options for you. So I recognize that this won't work for everyone, but I'm trying to come up with a combination of things that will work. So this is it for this micro moment. I'm loving my new mill, and I hope this may be helpful to those of you that are still searching for a mill. That buying guide is wonderful, and it will help you home in on what is right for you. So thanks for being with us, and we will see you next Monday for another micro moment.